Last night, Juan Soto went to the New York Mets. Told you. Told you it was going to be the Mets.
You nailed it.
Told you all along it was the Mets. I don't know why.
What a fun
there
couple
was any
weeks, though.
Belief in anything else.
What a fun couple weeks, though.
Did you have fun?
Oh, I had fun yesterday morning because I listened to Matt McCarthy, and God bless Matt McCarthy. He's doing a show by himself, and he's in there trying to get the board up to talk with him. And I think it was Williams. I think Williams was working with him. And I heard it in and out because I was running errands, and my kid was at practice. And I'm listening to him. You know, it's Juan Soto this, and they have to do it. They're in, and this is the way it's going to change. And Kristen Casas, bye-bye. See you in Seattle. Get rid of him. And just like he's already turned the page that they were getting Juan Soto. I feel bad for those type of people. I feel bad for Milliken. I do. Because I was there, and I've learned from like the wide receiver thing, and I just get a good chuckle out of it. Remember when Kevin Durant was getting wooed?
Oh, yeah?
And they flew Tom Brady in a helicopter to the Hamptons?
To the Hamptons, yeah.
Boy, I bet that really sold him, huh? How about the David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez calls? Remember when Sam Kennedy was sitting doing an interview? I think it was with Michael Silverman, wasn't it? And, hey, Beetle, look, my phone's ringing. It says Big Poppy on it. Oh, hi, David. How you doing? Do you think it matters when those guys call you? Do you really? This is a message for all those little reporters out there that love the buzz because it's something to write about. It doesn't. You know what matters? Money. Money matters. All that other stuff is BS. Hey, how about this kid Underwood that went to Michigan? He was going to LSU, remember? And then Tom Brady called him 3 times last week. And all of a sudden he committed to Michigan. He decommitted and went to Michigan. Or was that because Larry Ellison paid him $10.5 million to go to Michigan?
Probably the second one.
Again, making my point. Money talks. I mean, it was fun. It was cute for a while. I don't blame them. I'd be out at $700. I mean, we had a drop dead price last week, didn't you? Didn't we talk about this a little bit? Like, at what point do you kind of tap out? You know you're in at $650. But once it got to Cuckooville, over $700, out.
So my only question for the Red Sox after this is because 700 was the number for me that I said you got to get 7.
You said it, yeah.
You got to get 7. Be at 7 in this thing.
So it sounds like
and they did. But my question is, when did you offer it?
Thank you.
When did you offer the 7? Because you could have offered the $700 million 3 weeks ago, and just said, "This is our offer. Take it or leave it." But I doubt they did that because we already know that they were over 600 at one point, and then they re-upped it again.
And things got
playing
weird.
Scott Boris's game.
Things got weird last week when John Henry wanted the private meeting to give me the number. Just give me a number to get this done. No, you're already out by then. That tells me you're already out by then.
Did you see how the Red Sox found out they were out of it at dinner? Scott Boras a few tables away, apparently.
Or did they find out the morning of when John Heyman was telling everybody in the hotel lobby that feels like the Red Sox are out of this? Because that was the morning, right? Am I right, Milliken? Heyman was telling people that morning, yesterday morning.
That they were out?
No, that it's a long shot for the Red Sox.
Well, no, it was over on Saturday night. They found out Saturday night.
Well,
but even Sunday afternoon at the winter meetings, John Heyman was walking around the winter meetings, and he goes, the Red Sox don't seem very confident. The Yankees seem pretty confident. The Mets were somewhere in the middle. That was the last thing you got before the actual news dropped. But Enrique Rojas, had come out and said that he thought it was going to be between the Red Sox and the Mets yesterday. That's what Red Sox fans were holding on to.
Rob Bradford wrote that it was a pursuit that led the Red Sox to actually believing there might be a chance Soto would be coming to Boston. All the way up until some of the chief decision makers in the organization went out to eat on Sunday night. It was at that meal, with Soto's agent, Scott Boras, sitting just a few tables away, the Sox got the news that they were waking up from this improbable dream.
Ugh.
Oh, my goodness. That was the Delta Lounge moment?
Sky Lounge 2.0.
Sky Lounge.
You said it last
I said, what's
week.
it going to be?
What is the moment going to be?
What's going to be the moment? Who's crying this time?
There you go. What do you think they ate, though? Do you think he still finished the meal? Of course you do.
They had money for more apps at that point, man. You're not spending $700 million on Juan Soto anymore.
This is the disappointing part. That tells me how unserious Boras and Soto viewed the Red Sox in this. That they casually dropped on them at dinner on Saturday night, a couple tables. Oh, hey, no, you guys are out.
Totally forgot.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, I was gonna call, but
Were you guys in?
You guys, no, we're not. We're done.
Even the Athletic article on Saturday that mentioned when they met with Boris and they got the first inclination that they weren't really in on this thing, they had a whole Zoom meeting. He'd even bring up Soto to them.
So my question would be, why did they look at them as not being serious in this? How is it that you offered $700 million, but the guy never even took you seriously? How can that be?
I think there's two options, right? Either one, he never wanted to come to Boston because he thinks you're a joke franchise based on the last few years. Or two, they knew that your number was what it was and you weren't willing to go to the lengths that the Mets and the Yankees were, right? Either one means that you're not a serious player for Juan Soto.
It came down to Yankees and Mets, the two New York teams.
I don't think he ever considered them. I don't think he even took it seriously or cared to take it seriously. I don't think he was ever coming here.
Probably a subway thing for him, right? Either I'm going to one or the other. I already did the New York Yankee thing. We lost. Yeah, we got to the World Series. I declared I'm a free agent the second that sucker was over. Bidding wars, let's go. Who wants it? And the Mets probably got in it right away. The Mets were probably the front runner the whole time.
No, I think a lot of people are going to look at this right now. And
I bet the Yankees made him think.
The Red Sox are doing the same exact thing they've been doing for several off seasons now, which is showing interest, getting close, but really not being close enough.
Oh, you need Shaughnessy today.
And they weren't close enough on the money. They weren't. That's okay as long as you now turn around and heavily invest in the team. So if the $700 million offer was genuine and they thought they could get him on that, they will now pivot and heavily invest in the team to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars over the next however many seasons. They also now have competition. In the short term, they win. They look like they were interested. They look like they were ready to pony up $700 million to one player. And the Yankees also now lose Juan Soto. Those are all helpful things for them.
What's the big but?
But that only lasts for about a day because now the Yankees also
Still
have that money to compete against the Red Sox with, to the tune of what they offered, $765 million, which was $65 million more than the Red Sox in their offer. The Yankees have plenty of resources. They're obviously willing to spend them. They were way more serious and got far more consideration from Juan Soto than the Red Sox could have even dreamed of in this scenario. So now they have to compete with the Yankees on everything this offseason. So you haven't won much on the field. Can you win the offseason? Can you compete and beat the Yankees in the offseason with your resources? And so what did it come down to? It came down to money. It didn't come down to which team. It rolled out the red carpet.
Big Poppy called him last week twice. Met with him.
Pedro, the Hall of Fame parade.
Do you think he was like
Pedro and Poppy?
Who the hell's Pedro? Like, I'm so young. I'm only 26. When did Pedro play? Was he like in the 80s?
No, all indications are he knows both of these guys, but I don't think it means anything.
It doesn't mean it never did.
In fact, you know what else I think is completely overblown and is nonsense today? The idea that Juan Soto really is happy to be playing for Steve Cohen and being able to go to his home and have the sit-down meeting with him because he really liked and appreciated the relationship that guys like Aaron Judge had with the Steinbrenners, and he wanted that for himself. Give me an effing break. They just paid you what will end up being more than $800 million by the time this deal is done.
None deferred.
You're telling me it was because Steve Cohen sat there and had a meeting with you at his home and that really was the extra thing you needed? Get lost, dude. You can get lost with that stupid story because that is not why you chose the New York Mets. It's not. The same reason Calvin Ridley went to Tennessee.
Thank you.
They offered the most money.
I learned.
Okay?
That's why
it's not
I'm getting
that
a good laugh.
effing complicated.
Like, ooh, what's they called him?
The same reason why the Patriots' new football facility will do nothing for free agents. It's a nice thing to have for your players.
You'll do better on the
It's
survey.
not going to have a free agent saying, I got to go to New England. They've got a pool. That's not going to happen. What's going to need to happen is you give the player the most money. That's what the Mets did. That's what they were going to do all along. I told you this was going to happen, and it did. Steve Cohen was not going to lose, and he didn't. He didn't lose. He offered the most by quite a bit. So the Yankees were more serious than the Red Sox. The Red Sox, well, that's nice if you turn around and you spend that and you invest that money into the team. Then we can look at this and say, all right, you went after Soto, you made an honest effort, but if they now do the thing that they've done every year for the last, 5 years, we'll call it, well, then the Soto thing was a total joke. We'll get our answer on that. We'll be able to look back and retroactively know for sure what the hell this was, if this was an honest pursuit or not. And maybe they realized at some point, he's not picking us. He's not taking us seriously. We're going to get out of this thing. He's not coming here.
When they didn't give you the meeting, that was the telling sign to them. I think.
Right. He's sitting in Cohen's living room, but he won't meet with the Red Sox again.
Say the number. And they weren't willing to.
And should they use that as some sort of wake-up call? He knows you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and he has no interest in going to your team. None.
Right.
He's got no interest in going
That's
there.
the part that sucks. Is once you make the offers and you're up there and you're at that level that people actually don't want to go.
You say, I don't want to play for the Red Sox.
That's their own fault, though, for being in a place like that and not being the destination that they used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, you effed that up for 5 years. What, 18? Yeah. Yeah. Get those shirts back out. Do damage. Oh, you did some damage.
Red Sox, losers again. That's what they were last night. Soto to the Mets. Steve Cohen has really made it a place players want to play. Yeah, you know why, Passan? Because he pays the most. That's why. What are you talking about?
It's unbelievable.
Oh, Steve Cohen is just, what culture has he built? The one where you get rich.
He's a fun guy. Yeah.
What the hell is that? Oh, the future of the Mets. It's so much
really
brighter
wants
than
to
that of
compete.
the
Really
Yankees.
wants to compete there more than down in the Bronx with the Yankees, where he just went to the World Series. These writers are funny.
What are we talking about, dude?
You guys are cute. You really are. With your environment and your what's the culture like? And guess who called them? Former players.
Because they
he's so stupid.
Because they won 89 games last year before getting to the NLCS. Like what are you talking about? What? And the year before they weren't in the playoffs? What? Oh yeah, Steve Cohen, he's just built such a winner there.
This is funny as him like enjoying his time at like Steve Cohen's house. Like that's the one that sold me, man. Like yeah, he opened up his checkbook, sit there looking at dollar signs. It's great. This is great. What a meeting. What a meeting.
It was because he went to Steve Cohen's living room that it really just, he sold him on that.
Hell of a chair. Hell of a chair and an ottoman, Put your feet up. Put them up. Put your feet up on the white couch. Go ahead. Put them up. It's funny. It's money.
What the hell?
It's money.
What are we talking about? They did have that year where they had 100 wins, and then they lost in the wild card round. That was neat.
The saddest part of
the
this,
foundation was laid at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah,
brick by brick. Yeah, brick by brick.
The saddest part of all this is like you go back to even prior to Mookie leaving, when you start talking about the type of money he was going to command, and like $300,000 was laughed at, and then someone said no. Oh, he could be approaching being the first $500 million player, and it's just way back, and you effed that one up. And you got out on this one. The next guy's going to approach $1 billion. Like, that's what this thing's heading. Heard Felger last night, too, on...
Who's the $1 billion player?
I'm just saying, like 2 years from now.
He doesn't exist, but the next one that's going to challenge for like
There'll
5...
be somebody.
It'll be Vladdy Guerrero Jr. next year if he repeats the past season he had, because he's as young as Soto is.
It's just where this thing's trending, like the way it's gone. Look what Mookie got. Look where this thing's heading. You're in those last 2 negotiations. Not really, but... This is big money. This is big-time money.
Oh, it is?
Oh, non-deferred. How about that? Non-deferred with escalators taking it up over 800. Like, you really weren't close. Just to factor in, say you were at 700, and I did the math, 4.3 a year. That's not close. That's a lot of scratch. You're not 30,000 off. You're not $3 million in total off. No. You were there, though. Like, you at least pushed the number up for him. That was nice. You need bidders.
They didn't, though. Their offer did not push it up. Their offer did not alter the negotiations that he had with any other team. You came up tens of millions of dollars short.
Yeah. You didn't really want
$100 million. Actually, by the end, you came up about $100 million short.
Do you think internally they knew
you were
that?
not close.
Do you think internally they knew it's probably going to take over close to 8.
The way that it went at the
I wanna
end,
know-
you had
That's what I'm worried
the way
about.
that
Like-
Boris was treating them, 100%, you knew
Yeah.
you weren't a legitimate player.
No, but did they know going into this what he was going to cost? Did they understand how high this was going to go?
I don't think anyone thought it was going to get over 800. I think that's a little beyond. I thought people was going to be 700. It was going to be break Shohei's number, which obviously present day was 461. But to think the Yankees, before Boris went back one last time yesterday, they were at 15 years, 712 million.
So my biggest aggravation with all of this for the Red Sox is that they were not in on Shohei a year ago. If you were willing to throw $700 million on the table and it was genuine this year, where were you a year ago when Shohei Ohtani was available?
And he was willing to defer it.
Shohei Ohtani looks like a bargain right now.
Oh,
An absolute bargain.
well, that guy's a superstar.
And this money for Juan Soto does not have deferrals. So I assume the Red Sox offer didn't defer the money if they were real contenders, which means where were you a year ago when you could have said
That's a
to
good
Shohei Ohtani, hey, here's $700 million and you can get it all now.
Which player would you rather have?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, no question. No question.
So where were you? Why is it that a year ago you didn't want to put yourself into a sweepstakes that to me would move the needle so much more than Juan Soto?
Oh, totally. But I think
He's
your
a-
ass was sewn to the ground.
Show
I think
it.
you didn't have a clue what you wanted to do. You couldn't even find a GM. Like, you look at the timing of it all when you hired Breslow and all that. Like, you were just like, what? Just stop it. Stop everything right now. Like, you had no chance at anybody.
You were willing to put 300 million down on the table for Yamamoto, though. Allegedly.
That was after. This is after.
Further along.
Ohtani.
No,
Who
but in
cares?
terms of putting money on the table,
Right.
you were willing to put it there.
You
Why
had
weren't
to,
you
though.
willing to call about Ohtani? They probably look at it and tell you the age stuff. I'm not saying that's a reason. I'd throw whatever money you have at Ohtani, but they'll look at Yamamoto and Juan Soto as being in their mid-20s with, Ohtani being closer to 30.
Yeah, except Ohtani, you get two players in one.
I don't disagree. Well, besides this year, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, you knew that going in, though. That wasn't a surprise.
Those home tickets would be fun, boy. Have that guy.
All the sponsorship money, all those different
all of
revenue
it.
streams.
All of it. Where the hell were you a year ago? Yeah. So, listen, if they don't go out now and spend their resources, this is going to be their worst offseason yet. You thought it couldn't get worse? It can. It can get worse. After allegedly offering around, as some reports have said, $700 million. Was it $700 million or not, by the way?
In the neighborhood of.
Well, okay, they got rid of the neighborhood play in baseball. So the neighborhood play here in negotiations doesn't count. Around $700 million. That's a bullcrap thing, too. Were they at 700 or not? So let's just say they got beat by $100 million. They're out by $100 million. They didn't even come close. That's fine if you then go out and you spend the money elsewhere and you upgrade your team through other moves. If you don't, this will now be the worst one they've done yet. This will be the worst offseason they've had to date under this ownership, under the recent year problems of them not really being all in and not investing in their team. But I am not surprised. It's hard for me to be super upset with it because I had a full expectation they would lose this no matter what to the Mets.
The first
And
banger.
by the way, if I were the Yankees, I would have felt the same way. The Yankees should have known this was going to happen.
Yeah. I'm a sucker, man. I bought it. I bought it last week.
But at least if you're the
You know those,
Yankees, you at least made the chance and you gave up a really good player to go get a guy which you knew could potentially maybe be a rental but help you get to the World Series in here. And they still did it.
Yeah.
And then they were back in at 760, 765. They got back in it. They became a player again. Good luck outbidding them for starting pitching.
By the way, how great does Juan Soto look for turning down the Washington Nationals in 2022 for 15 years and $440 million, which was a crazy banana land offer at the time. He said, thanks, but no thanks. And now, just a couple of years later, he gets what will be, in the end, $800 million.
Doubled it. And people thought he was crazy for turning it down at the time. 440 to 800.
Well, he's had
Not
to play
bad, man.
2 additional seasons, during which you could get hurt or have something happen to you.
With new
right?
teams.
With other teams. So, Juan Soto, congratulations. You look smart. Your agent looks smart. Turning down $440 million with the Nationals, which I really don't think a lot of people outside of freak baseball fans know about.
I had to Google that last night when you texted it.
Did you remember this?
No, I did not.
First thing I thought of, I'm
I
like,
had no
oh
clue.
my God, he
Nope.
looks so smart for turning that money down.
Hey, in all honesty, and like Felger did this last night too on his NBC show. He said,
You stay up that late?
Yeah, I did. Well, because the damn game kept me up. And then you go to the news, and then they were teasing Mike's show was coming, so I stayed up for it. And he's like,
What time did it come on?
Oh, God, this is like midnight. So, effing baseball. He goes, effing baseball. He goes, explain to me this. How do you get almost $800 million? Where he brought up the point. If Patrick Mahomes or LeBron or like Tiger or somebody walks down the street, you're going, oh my God, there they are. There they are. There's the player. He goes, Juan Soto walks down the street. You don't have any clue who's walking down the street. He can blend. But that's the weird thing with baseball. They got the money for these players, but you don't have the zingers. You don't have the uber stars other than Ohtani. You know, we've done this before. I don't want to get into that again, but it made you think last night. He's right.
Oh,
Then
Ohtani's
you
one
brought
of those
up
guys that
Then you
people
brought up the
recognize,
point of
isn't he?
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
Oh, Aaron, I
Judge
recognize
would be,
Ohtani.
yeah.
And
Judge,
Yeah.
Judge is
Ohtani.
6'6", he's
Yeah.
6'7".
The
Those are the only
recognizable
two.
guys in
Yeah.
the sport.
Those are the only two, really.
Yeah, I don't know if there's many beyond those two.
Who's the one that's dating Olivia Dunn or whatever, the rookie of the year?
Paul Skeens,
Paul
yeah.
Skeens. If Paul Skeens walked in,
If it weren't for his
I would
facial
have no
hair, you
clue
wouldn't
who he is.
recognize him.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if he didn't have a baseball hat on.
Bryce
Yeah.
Harper.
Long hair, yeah.
Bryce Harper's probably recognized, but
We
but to
probably
how
got
many people-
5. We
But to
probably
everybody,
got 5.
No, those are guys that could like walk down Newberry Street and probably get away with it.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know that baseball has that guy anymore. That you're just like, oh my God, that's
don't.
so and
Yeah.
so.
I mean, we used to go
Where
nuts when
non-baseball fans
Would
are
freak out.
able
Yeah.
to recognize them because they are household names and they are household images. I don't think that exists. So you're right. I mean, or he's right.
He's right. But
Felger
that's,
said it.
yeah. But it makes you think,
800
start thinking.
million-
Then I looked up
800 million
that's
for a
when
guy who could blend.
That's when I looked up the
Right?
$400 million offer for Nationals. I'm like, what's Beetle talking about? I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this guy just doubled his money.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand here. For more Red Sox analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.